Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2026 Honda CRV Trailsport and compare it against the 2026 Toyota RAV4 Woodlands. Both of these are off-road focused-ish SUVs that do have some practicality and capabilities to them to take them off the pavement if you were looking for a little bit more of a rugged SUV. Not quite a hardcore off-roader, but if you want something that's going to take you on those adventures, we have two really good SUV options to go with. Now, at the time of filming this, we do not have pricing on the all-new Toyota RAV4, but with the CRV Trailsport behind us, this is right around $40,000. So we can hopefully assume that the RAV4 Woodlands is going to be right around that price, give or take a few $1,000s. So this is going to be basically the two off-road trim levels to compare. We'll get pricing at some point, of course, but let's get right into it. RAV4 Woodlands versus CRV Trailsport. And with the plug-in hybrid, this is powered by the 2.5 liter four-cylinder with that hybrid system. It's paired to the electronic CVT, pumps out 324 horsepower combined between the engine and that hybrid system, 172 pound-feet of torque just from the engine alone. It's all-wheel drive, weighs in around 4,400 pounds. It also has a fuel capacity of 14.5 gallons, and you'll expect to see 42 miles per gallon in the city and 35 out on the highway. Now, with the plug-in hybrid, you can expect to see around 49 miles on just the EV system alone. It also has a wheelbase of 105.9 inches. Its overall length is 181. It has a width of 73, a height of 66.5. When you add the roof rack to that, it will increase that slightly, of course. And then its ground clearance is increased to 8.5 inches. This is powered by the 2-liter inline four-cylinder hybrid. It's paired to the eCVT transmission, and it pumps out 204 horsepower, 247 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this nearly 4,000-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 7.6 seconds. It has a top speed of 111 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 14 gallons, and you'll expect to see 38 miles per gallon in the city and 33 out on the highway. Now, this also has a wheelbase of 106.3 inches. Its overall length is 184.8. It has a width of 73.5, a height of 66.5, and its ground clearance measures in at 8.2 inches. Now, as we work our way to the exterior styling, this has a really nice front-end design. You'll notice the hammerhead split design with the lower section and the upper portion of the grille there. Now, this model is also equipped with LEDs for the lighting. You'll notice a really nice wraparound design with the bodywork right in the middle. There's also rigid LED fog lights in the lower section of the bumper. There's also all of the parking sensors, a forward-facing camera for that added visibility, especially when you take this off the pavement, and then some really nice bulges coming down both sides of the hood there, and then a really nice trim accent for that lower section. Almost has a 4Runner front end design to it with the shape of the grille for this particular trim level. Now, as we move on to the exterior styling for the Trailsport model, you will notice all of the orange accents and badging. It is mainly a cosmetic package. However, there is a little bit more of a grippy all-terrain tire, and you do get some better ground clearance for this model. So up front, the Honda badge is also the sensor for distance pacing. You'll notice gloss black for the rest of the grille. There's also some gloss black accents in the lower section, as well as more cutouts to provide cooling and even active grille shutters. So the back section there will open and close depending on the cooling that is needed. You'll notice too the dark housing for all of the LEDs, which have part of that upper grille trim accent integrated into them to make them much better of a design. And then there's some brushed accents for the lower section and a few lines that come down the hood. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a set of all-terrain tires along with the gray 18-inch wheels. So with these tires, it does help in giving it that little bit of extra ground clearance, so that way you can tackle some dirt like we are on right now. Now, this also has the plastic fender arches to give it a good design, along with the lower side skirt there. And then there's also a camera and a turn signal on the side mirrors, which have gloss black for that mirror cap. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this does have the roof rack with those racks installed, and it does have a sunroof up top too. And then some really nice lines and edges running down the side. Now, as we work our way to the side, you'll notice the dark gray wheels, which are 18s, and then you have that all-terrain tire. Now, there's also some plastic for the fender arches. It's on the lower side skirt too. You do get a small mud flap for both front and rear. And then there's also gloss black for the mirrors, which have a turn signal. It's on the window trim, the roof racks, and the sunroof is up top there. Now, as we take a step back, you'll notice some very crisp lines just above the gloss black door handles to give it a great integration. And then working your way to the back, this also has a body colored spoiler. You'll notice there's the third brake light. There's also the wiper blade in the lower section there. LEDs for all of the lighting too. And then you'll notice the backup camera, all the parking sensors, and this comes with a factory hitch. With all-wheel drive, this can tow around 3,500 pounds. For this smaller vehicle, that's pretty impressive. You could hook up some smaller trailers, maybe load some kayaks, mountain bikes, whatever adventures you may be going on, you can at least tow a trailer for those extra goodies. Now you can use the button on the key fob or the electronic release underneath, where you also notice the Woodland badge, and it's also on the roof rack too, which is nice. There is a good bit of storage in the back. This also has the Woodland all-weather floor mats. You'll notice they're actually on the back of the seat too. So when you fold them down, you can put in any items that you may have. Now, even though this is a plug-in hybrid, you still have storage in the back. So you get a full-size spare, and you can place items on both sides if you need to. There's also this removable cover, and then you have some cargo lights along with an outlet and a little bit of extra storage. And then up top, you can close the vehicle, or you can use the one on the right to lock the vehicle as well. And then in back, there's the two-tone design for the spoiler, along with the third brake light. There's the wiper blade, LEDs for all of the lighting. You get a backup camera, and then some more brushed accents down below. Now, this is capable of towing right around 1,000 pounds or so. You probably won't be using it for any items, but you can maybe put a bike rack or at least something on the back to give you a little bit more practicality. Now, this also has the ability to be remote started, so you can lock it, use this control here to turn it on and to shut it off. And you can also use the key fob or the release underneath to gain access to your cargo space. So it is a power operating lift gate where you have a good bit of space. You'll also notice we installed this all-weather floor mat to give you better protection, especially if you are taking this on some adventures. You do get a little bit of storage with a 12 volt. You have some cargo lights too, and there's the cover that you can install and use as needed. And then underneath the floor, you have some of the hybrid components. So there's no added storage, but you can fold the back seats down to get even more rear storage. And then there's one button up top to close that lift gate. Now, as we work our way to the interior, you'll notice there's gloss black for the door handles, and then a really unique design for the interior with this gray soft touch material. There's also a speaker. You have a cup holder down below, and then a nice design for these seats, where if I fold this one down, you'll notice we have that backing there just to protect the carpet and the material there, and it makes it much easier to clean, along with having the all-weather floor mats down below. So you can easily remove them, wash them, and put them back in. Now in the back, you'll notice there's storage pockets, there's auxiliaries and vents in the middle, and at 5'10", I have like 3 inches of headroom. It is very comfortable to be in this seat here. So I could go on long road trips, go on adventures, and have a good bit of space. Now you also get the armrest with cup holders in the middle, and then there's the cargo windows in the back there, which will help aid in seeing around this pillar here, where you'll also notice there's this trim accent leading all the way to the spoiler. Now, as we work our way to the interior, door panel has a nice design to it. You'll notice some of the trim accents, your window control, some soft touch materials with the orange stitching, and then storage in the lower section. And then this model does have cloth seats. Hopefully you can tell they are pretty much reclined all of the way right now. So you do have that option. And then you can pull on this tab to fold the seats down. You have a little bit of a bump here, but you have a large opening to fit in items. And then as you can see, this is pretty much all the way up. And then you can recline them from there. At 5'10", I have a lot of space. You'll notice there's vents, auxiliaries, you have a storage pocket, really no bump in the middle, so it gives you almost a nice flat surface. And then with this seat all the way back, I still have a good bit of headroom, but for this smaller size SUV, I can lounge out, go for a long trip in the back here, which is fantastic to see. Now you have some cup holder storage with the armrest there, and then there's the large cargo windows there to make it much easier to see around that pillar. Now up front, you'll notice there's more of those soft touch materials along with the window controls, side mirror adjustments, and then more storage down below. Now this also has power operating front seats with some more of these orange accents and piping along with the insert design there. And then it's a pretty low SUV, but actually let's take a look at this here where you do get a little bit of extra hidden storage there in the driver door panel. And then as we start this up, this has a leather trim steering wheel with a neat design to it. You'll notice more of the orangish red trim accent in the lower section. And then for all of the controls, we do have a squared off design for them, where there's the cruise control settings, distance pacing, along with steering assist on the right. And then on the left side, there's volume along with tuning, voice commands, and then the arrows to go through the full digital gauge cluster. Now, if I start going left or right, you'll notice right in the middle, you can actually pull up a completely different view for the information that you would like to see. So we have a few different angles that we can go through here, depending on how you want to view the left and the right side. And then if I start using the arrows, you can go through information on this far left side. So you can easily view all of this depending on what you'd like to see. And then the right side is going to be fixed. So you do have just the information to scroll through on this left side, and you can view it no matter what screen you are set on, which is very nice. Now to the left, there's a dimmer switch along with the power lift gate. You have the fuel cap and hood release. And then there's one air vent up top. Now up front, there's all of the window controls, side mirror adjustments, lock and unlock, and then a lot more storage down below. And then more orange stitching for the seats. You'll notice Trailsport in the headrest there, and a nice design running down the insert. They're also power operating as well. And then we have more of the all-weather floor mats. Hey everyone, so today's video is brought to you by LastFit. For this Honda behind us, we will be installing a set of all-weather floor mats from LastFit. You can use the link down in the description below, use the promo code so you can save on your own set for your specific Honda vehicle. Now, even with this particular Honda model, it does come with all-weather floor mats, but the LastFit liners are laser measured to give you much more coverage than what the factory provides you. Even with the factory carpeting, these all-weather floor mats have a nice durable material that's going to make them much easier to clean and keep dry compared to the factory carpeting. These floor mats also have a larger lip, so that way less debris is going to get up underneath them, keeping your vehicle better protected. Now you can get fronts, rears, and even the cargo mat too. So if you're loading in items, especially with a Trailsport model like this, that is going to better protect your rear cargo space as well. So take a look at the link down in the description, get a full set of liners for your particular vehicle, and keep it cleaner on a daily basis. And then coming back to the interior, we have more orange stitching with the leather steering wheel, but we can start this up where this model also has paddle shifters. It is a heated steering wheel too. You have tuning and volume along with voice commands, and then you also have all of the cruise control settings with your distance pacing and lane keeping assist. Now you have two rotary dials that you can use to control the digital gauge cluster. So with the one on the left, we can go through audio adjustments. You can look at Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You even can customize what you would like to see. So you can hide and show all of these just by checking or unchecking them, just to clean up the list and have all the information that you would like to see. Now on the right side, we can go through some more of the car vitals. You have your MPG, your driver safety, where the power is being sent, some of the vitals here, and you even have some ways that you can customize and get into the vehicle settings. So you can go through even more information here depending on how you want everything set up and what you would like to look at. And then the last one here is the gauge customization. So you can actually go into that design and change it depending on how you want to view the information. So it's a really easy system to go through, and then you have battery and fuel on the left and the right. Now there's also the liftgate release. There's one air vent. And as we work our way to the infotainment system, this is the smaller screen, but it's fully touch screen, and you have quite a lot that you can go through. So on the home screen, you'll notice we have a split view where you can customize all of these widgets as well. So depending on what you would like to see and have the most, you can quickly go through that. You can pull up the nav in full screen, get into your music along with your phone when that is paired. You can also look at the charging schedule and set all of this information. And then you have quite a lot of settings here to go through and configure as needed. You can get into your driving assistance, even your drive performance, look at your different driving modes here and set all of that up as needed, and get into all of your vehicle settings. Now, still within the screen, you have your heated seats along with the heated steering wheel. You'll notice the temperature, which is a physical button. So you use that down below, which is nice. Toyota has kept that in a separated area. You do have fan speed in the screen here, so you can monitor that. Volume knob is in the middle. There's also defrosters too. Now with this system as well, this also has some new technology for the voice commands. So you can go through this. You also have some shortcuts here, but the voice commands are going to be much quicker. So when you push on that, you can say something like, "Hey Toyota, can you turn down the fan speed?"
Turning the fan all the way down.
So it works very well, and you can quickly do that so you don't have to use the screen as needed, which is nice. Now there's vents underneath that. You also have a wireless charging pad with a ton of space down below. You'll notice there's even more storage underneath that where you can place some items. And then on both sides, you have different controls to go through. So you can get back into the driving modes and quickly go through these. It will also change on the gauge cluster too, depending on the mode that you are in. Now underneath that, there's also an auto and an EV mode. And then you'll notice on the left side, you can put this into the different modes there. And depending on the battery charge, of course, from plugging it in or the vehicle charging it itself, you can run on just the EV mode. Now on the right side, you have a trail and a snow mode. So you can go through those two there. And then there's also a normal mode underneath that. Now there's also some auxiliaries. You have a downhill assist, traction control, and then the view button for the camera system. So as you can tell right now, we have a top-down view with underneath it, and you can swipe around to get a clear view as to what's around us. Especially not being on the pavement, we can look for any rocks or anything that may be around us. Now we can easily put this into reverse where you have the backup camera. When you put it into drive, now you have the forward-facing camera, and you can also pull that up in automatic. So at slower speeds, this is the angle that will pop up. Now you can also shift using the shifter. And then behind that, there's the e-brake auto hold. You have two cup holders with this divider that you can remove, and with the center armrest. Not only can you open it up two different ways, but you do have to have two hands in order to push both of them in at the same time. And from there, you can actually completely remove this. And not only does that give you a lot of space where you have some auxiliaries, but you can then lock this back into place with the hard top. So you can place some items here as needed. And then when you're ready, just unclip both of those, flip it around. Now you have the soft touch materials for a built-in armrest. So really nice to see that functionality. You get some storage up top, a locking glove box with plenty of space. And then there's your standard rear view mirror. You have dome lights, a sunglass holder, and this model has the sunroof. So you can easily open that up. And then here's a look at visibility, where you have a lot of glass for this SUV. And then working your way to the infotainment system, you have a few physical buttons on this left side. You have a split view here for your home screen. You can get in to connect, so you can pair your phone and some of that information. And then you just have shortcuts here to get into some general info. You can get into your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and your phone. So it's pretty simple, but effective. There's this trim accent that goes all the way to the passenger side. And then you have fan speed, temperature, where you'd like the air to go. Even the defroster for the side mirrors, which is nice. You get heated seats, auxiliaries, wireless charging. And then when we put this into reverse, you get a backup camera with a few different angles. So depending on where you need to see. You also have drive and B. B is going to be your regen braking, which I will go over once we get this out on the road. And there's also a few different driving modes that you can go through depending on the throttle response and how you need that power distributed between the all-wheel drive system. You get a downhill assist, auto hold and the e-brake, cup holders and storage, plenty of storage in the armrest. You have a locking glove box, and then there's the rear view mirror. You get a sunglass holder, there's dome lights, and then controls for the sunroof. Sunshade is manually adjusting. And then here's a look at visibility. You have a lot of glass. So it's a small SUV and it's easy to see. So with it still in sport mode, here we go again. You can just feel this get up to speed. That's very impressive. A good bit of power for sure. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the latest Toyota RAV4. We have a nice design for this latest screen. It is worth noting that some other plug-in hybrid trim levels will offer a larger screen, like the GR series, which is actually following us right now. So if you want to take a look at that full review, you can check out that video as well. We have a lot of different trim levels for this latest model. So just depending on the type of driving that you are doing, we have the Woodlands for off-roading, we have the GR behind us if you want a little bit more of a sporty feel, and then there's also the Limited, the XSEs, and a few other trim levels too. So you have a broad range of options and specs to go with depending on what is going to suit you best. And it's a really nice layout, really good interior. I like all of the updates. Sizing seems to be pretty good. For its smaller size, you have a lot of interior space. And for the driving that I have done on the road today, it feels like a nice commuter. Not a lot of road noise or wind noise. This would be an excellent daily driver and commuter. From what I've seen, I think a full range of gas on this is going to be right around 500 miles combined with The hybrid system, you might see 600. It might be pushing that, just depending on your driving style and how often you charge the vehicle as well. If you want to get those added benefits, you do need to plug this in every day. Now, with my experience again with my X5, I just plug it into a normal 3-prong outlet. You don't need a fancy level 2, any kind of charger like that. It takes about 8-9 hours for the battery in my X5 to charge with the 3-prong outlet. So I believe this is a little bit smaller. It could charge quicker than that, but charge it overnight, you're good to go the next day, and you will get those full benefits with the plug-in hybrid system. So of course it will charge as we've been driving, but if you really want those benefits, do the charging on a regular basis. And then with it in sport mode, here we go. Just a minor acceleration, but this has plenty of power to get up and merge, things like that. And then with the different driving modes as well, it is going to modulate your throttle response, and then you have a snow mode too, which will also modulate the all-wheel drive system. Now, surprisingly for the Trailsport, there's really no off-road setting to put this into. I guess you might be able to use snow mode just to get a little bit more traction, but it is interesting to see no actual off-road mode. But aside from that, we have a very nice interior. There is some plastic. It's kind of what you would expect to see at vehicles of this price point, so that's not a surprise there. But the rest of it is laid out well. If you're looking for a simple vehicle that gives you all of the necessary tech features, it's a great option to go with. So nothing's overcomplicated. Even the infotainment system, really just pairing your phone to that system is all you need. With Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, everything's going right off your phone. You are good to go after that. And then all the controls are simple and laid out well. So it's a really nice vehicle in terms of what you get for the simplicity of it. And it's a vehicle that you can rack the miles up and drive every single day. So if you're looking for a commuter, something you're really driving on a day-to-day basis and probably quite long, it's a great option to go with. And so coming back to final thoughts now between the CRV Trailsport and the RAV4 Woodlands. Now, we were able to take the RAV4 off-road on some just dirt roads with some minor moguls, things like that. Nothing too fancy for an SUV like this, and that did really well off-road. I haven't been able to take the CRV Trailsport in the dirt, but I would assume it's going to be very similar. I have been to a lot of Overland Expo events where Honda actually brings their Trailsport models out to those events and actually tackles off-roading situations with their vehicles. So while this isn't really meant for off-roading, we do get some really good ground clearance. These are pretty capable for at least going camping, going hiking, getting through some slick terrain situations where you need some of those capabilities from the all-wheel drive system. So with the RAV4 being able to take that off the pavement, I would assume this is going to be fairly similar in terms of doing some mild terrain situations like that. So overall, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Would you go Toyota RAV4 or would you go Honda CRV? The Toyota is all new, redesigned for 2026. For this Honda, we have seen this for a while, so it will be interesting to see if Honda is going to come out with another generation or some more features, things like that, and we'll see what Honda's route is for that. Personally, I think I would go RAV4. You do have the option of going with the plug-in hybrid as well, so if you want even more power, you can do that. With the CRV, you only have the one hybrid option. So that is also another factor depending on which power plant you would like. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts if you'd rather go Toyota or Honda for this one. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.